Hola! Welcome to our second episode of This Might Sound Foreign, brought to you by Across the Border CIC. I'm your host, Moad Muhammad.
And I'm May Sattouf.
And together we are...
What is it called? The K-pop Fighting Demons.
Oh yeah! Did you finish that movie?
I did.
Guys.
I'll have to be honest. I get it. I do.
It's nice, right? Surprisingly.
But, like, I don't like the fact that, like, oh, he's a demon who sacrificed himself. Like, if you're gonna be a demon,
yeah,
do it right.
Yeah.
Do it right. Be evil. You know?
Guys, so basically this show went very viral on Netflix, and my brother actually recommended I watch it, and I was like, I don't trust this guy with like show recommendations.
But he likes a lot of animes and he's good at it.
Yeah.
He knows.
And I was like, okay, fine, I'll just give it a watch. Guys, when I tell you I was actually hooked, it was pretty good.
It was pretty good. It was very nice. The songs are very catchy. I just don't like the fact that there's always have to be a happy ending. Like, to the point that we're making a demon a good guy. He's a demon.
Literally. She's not good either. Well, she is good, but she's
half demon.
Yeah, true.
And I think it would have been so much better if they went with the idea of, like, it's okay for us to exist in this world, like obviously her being half demon because, like, the bad side. All of us have bad sides. They could have just kept it like that, you know?
True, yeah.
Like, why did they have to make the demon, oh my god, I never had a soul. You gave me my soul, so I'm giving it back to you. I'm like... so cringy.
Yeah. But, you know, it is a family show, so I think... Is it a family show? I don't know.
I don't know what family is watching K-pop like that, you know?
Yeah, I'm not even into K-pop. Like, I don't know about that world, but when I was watching the show, it was actually pretty good. Like, I got hooked.
Yeah. I'll say this as well. I didn't like that there was no diversity. Like, right now, more K-pops are getting diverse when it comes to, like, shapes and size. Obviously, it's K-pop, right? Like, I'm not expecting, like... But also, like, it's K-pop, so if someone who is... let's say half Korean, half other ethnicity, why not put them in? Like, it's an anime, right? Like, it doesn't have to be... How likely is it that there's demons? Can it be, like, also, like, a bit ambiguous? Be like, oh, half Korean, half black.
True, yeah.
One of them is, like, half Korean, half black, right? Why could that not been a thing? They could have done so much more with it.
Or a mixed group.
Yeah, and they'd be like, oh, but that's not realistic. And demons are? A demon sacrificing his life is? You know, that's what I'm saying.
Well, maybe if they listen to this podcast, then
Netflix,
they can
get on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, let's go back to topic.
You can never give us mics. How about that?
Oh, let's address the elephant in the room. So Mace is carrying, like, something that has been... It comes from, like, ancient times. Like, our ancestors are very fond of it. Not just in the kitchen, but also to beat us with.
That's a very good transition. This is a very good transition, I have to say.
And I think Mace tried to... She basically said, enough is enough. This ends with my generation. And she's now utilizing it in a different way.
In a positive way. So, we used to get beaten with this. Now, we're using it to talk about the abuse that we went through.
Exactly, the beating that we endured.
Yeah.
So, it looks really nice, actually. It looks way better than this bulky...
No, 100%. This is more representative of, like, what this is about, you know? This might look foreign to some people, you know?
Yes.
But,
this carries a lot of memories, a lot of history.
Yes.
But yeah, we only got this last week, so...
Yeah. We're waiting for the... Amazon has not been priming nowadays, so we're waiting for the next one.
Yes, unfortunately.
But it's okay. I'll put it here. I'll put it here for decoration, for people who can see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's a member of the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Let's have a name for it.
Khashuga.
Let us know in the comments. Sorry?
Khashuga.
Khashuga?
No, khashuga, basically, in my dad's dialect, means spoon.
Oh, okay.
I think it's in Iraqi as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this does transition into our first segment.
Okay, which is
a fun little game, icebreaker, that I wanted to play with you. And I've seen a lot of TikTokers do that. A lot of people on social media do it.
Okay.
And it's basically, what do you say in your language or in your dialect?
Okay.
So I'm going to shoot up a few words and let's see if Sudani Arabic is very similar to Syrian Arabic or Jordanian Arabic.
I hope that I remember it in Syrian, but I'll just say whatever I would say because, you know, that's a thing about being an international kid. But yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna know your words, but you might not know mine.
We'll see. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, also, I can make it harder. I can speak Halabi. I don't think you would know much Halabi.
Oh, let's do Halabi.
Okay, cool.
Do you want to explain what Halabi is?
It's just basically a dialect of people from north of Syria, from Aleppo specifically.
Perfect. You know what's funny? Fun fact. So with Halabi, when people say, "Oh, this person is Halabi" or "that person is Halabiya," in my Sudanese dialect, it basically means that you're very fair skinned, like you're light skinned. But to her, you know,
you from being from that city.
Exactly. So fun fact.
So I am Halabiya, you know, even though I'm not that fair
But
skinned.
she fits both transitions.
Oh, yeah, I guess that I'm Halabiya square.
Yeah. What do you call tea?
Chai.
Chai.
Yeah.
Oh, we say shy.
Yeah. So, but that's just the
Interesting.
Halabi, like.
Okay. I've never seen you speak Halabi.
I only speak it if it's spoken to me.
Chai?
Yeah,
Chai
chai.
chai?
جبيلي كاسة chai.
Oh, nice. Okay. Bread?
خبز.
Ash.
I know that.
Water?
مي.
Moya. Shoes?
Which type of shoes?
Just regular, like trainers.
Like trainers. Bolt or indara?
Indara. I've never... I know
So-
kundra or
yeah,
kundra.
but it's like we don't say qaf when you're speaking in Ammiya, so it's like
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We say jazma.
That's I think also in Arab, like a fusha word as well.
Yeah. Friend?
Rafi'i.
Okay. We say sahib or sahbati, you know, stuff like that. Now?
هلا.
Hassa. Later?
شوي تانية.
بعدين.
We also say بعدين. But like specifically على بعدين بعدين what did I say again? Yeah. What
شوي
have I
هلا.
said? شوي تانية.
شوي تانية. Okay, what about like little, small?
شقفة.
شقفة. Oh, I've heard you say that.
Yeah.
I've heard you say that. We say like basita, or we do say shwaya as well, like
Yeah.
for little. Yeah.
شوي, I think it depends on what you're describing. So if it's like you can't be, I mean you can, but like if I want to ask you for water, I'd be like مودة جبيلي شقفة مي. But then it wouldn't make sense. You have to be like, oh شوية مي. But then شقفة is like, oh, let's say you're bringing me bread. I'd be like, oh شقفة خبز.
Okay.
Then I would ask you
okay.
for شقفة.
How do you say I'm good? Like if someone was like kafik.
I mean most people be like alhamdulillah or like منيحة. I think so, yeah.
Yeah. We also say alhamdulillah. We go like tamam.
Yeah.
We also say kwaisa. Yeah. Similar.
كمان we say كويسة as well.
Yeah. Egyptians go like kwaisa.
Yeah. They always, I don't know why like, Egyptian Arabic to me has a bit of like melody to it. I don't know
Yes,
how.
yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
how. I mean, they probably say the same thing about us or like you guys, but yeah.
Yes, yeah. But yeah, that was a nice little icebreaker.
Damn.
Okay, I learned to think of a thing or two.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
wow.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah, so basically, I saw this TikTok video and I just wanted to see how we feel about this video. The video is about this girl who talks about what does it feel like being a second generation immigrant, and mainly what she talks about is how a lot of the times first generation immigrants who come here, they raise their kids, they give birth to them here and everything like that, and then obviously they're working very hard.
Yeah.
But while raising their kids, what happens is that they still have responsibilities back home to take care of, whether that's their parents, whether that's the family home, whether that's the nieces, nephews, sisters, brothers, even like old family members. All of a sudden, the responsibility for someone who left the country and now is doing financially better, is the back home, like all of them, the entire family is their responsibility for the people who made it. And then she was basically talking about the fact that how some families, they take it so extreme to the point that they would literally like not provide for their kids, but then send the money back home. And then obviously all of us know that, yeah, if they send 100 to 200 pounds, that might sound like not a lot, but if you convert it to, for example, Sudanese pounds, to Syrian lira, like that's a lot of money. And the contrast that it creates, and especially because the cost of living there is so much less. So the contrast that this creates is the fact that people back home are living like kings to whatever standards that is back home, but they are very, very, very comfortable, while the first generation immigrants' kids are, oh, you know, we don't have McDonald's money, you know, we don't have money for that, or, you know, we have responsibilities back home. And it's an ongoing issue whereby, like, it's to the point that genuinely some people, it's so extreme to the point that the people who are living here are living to like poverty line standards just so they can send money back home.
No,
because they can't say no. Like the parents cannot say no.
Guys, I relate so much to this. It's almost like we all live the same life, which is very scary to me because how? But yeah, I feel like we both can relate to this. Like it's actually very toxic. So I even know like my cousins, my, you know, aunts and uncles, they're okay. Obviously, like my hometown, it's not the best of situations. Economically, it's on the floor. It's not the best. But whatever they ask for, they get. And that's all by like the grace of like, you know, my dad and his generosity and like, you know, my parents and, you know, how giving they are, which is not bad. It's nothing horrible or anything, but it's like, it's really hard sometimes when a family member showcases that, oh, the environment they're in is really tough or they're struggling so much. It's really hard for you to like bat an eye and like not like ignore that
and help them out because
exactly. And so
the family
so you would obviously try and sacrifice a lot and try your best to try and accommodate them and, you know, help them out, but at the same time, you know, it's like at what cost? You know, your kids or your, not to say that we didn't live, we lived horribly. Like, obviously, I would never trade my lifestyle for anyone. My parents did way more than I could ever ask for. But there were instances where I was like, oh, can I do this? And they'd be like, oh, like, our situation is horrible. People at home are, you know, hungry and stuff, and you're complaining about this. Or people at home don't even have, I don't know, an iPad, and you're complaining because you don't have a charger or something. You know what I mean? Like, they try and belittle the situation you're in. And obviously, that's to humble you, which is really good. But at some point, as a kid, you try and see it in a different light. And I think that's kind of something that's not talked about as much, and I think you can relate as well.
I think the reason why it's not talked about much is because right now someone can tune in on this segment of the thing and be like, what ungrateful two people holding a mic, sitting here in their comfort of their own house, talking complaining about how their family members back home are like living like kings. It's never about that, right? It's not about, it's the fact that like, even though like, granted, in the end of the day, our parents are providing to their family, and we are not entitled to our parents' money. They get to do whatever they want with it. But just like Mawadda said, sometimes there's a lot of the time where, and I'm not talking like just personally, but I know a lot of my friends as well, the way that it goes is that, but they're not in need as much as they say that they are, right? That's first of all. And then second of all, it's also the point of like, even then, they get comfortable because now, technically speaking, they don't have to like work for it, right? Because now they're comfortable. Like, I'm not saying what they're living, they cannot improve. Everyone can improve, but now they have the necessities met. So they don't need to really think about outside the box or like hustle or anything like that. And yes, granted, like there's a lot of situations whereby, like, for example, being in a war zone where like you can want and you can have all the work ethic in the world and you would not be able to hustle, work, and it's not about them being lazy or anything like that. But just like any family, not everybody is actually treating the money that they're getting from the people in outside of the country in the grateful way that they should be, right? Some people are taking it as they should. Some people take it as, well, you know, my money is their money. Some people are taking it as like, well, I don't care what, for example, let's say, I don't care what my cousin is going through. He lives in London, I live here. No matter what his worst is, it cannot be worse than here, which is not true. Like, I get it.
That cousin is probably working like 4 jobs and, you know, sleepless nights just to make it at the brim.
And people think it's not true, but it's actually the reality of the situation. Yes, people earn a lot here, but because it costs a lot to live here. People would have not earned as a minimum wage, like 23, I think 24K a year, if that was not the cost of living. Companies would just cut it. Like, if people can live on less than that, that would have been the minimum wage. That's why it's called minimum wage, because that's how much you need to live. And even then in London, that's a stretch. Like, we're talking about, like, people are counting pennies to be able to live on the minimum wage. With that being said, and then people went back home be like, you know, every single mountain that they hit, any small bump, it's so much easier for right now to pick up the phone and call the designated person in London, in Canada, in the US, wherever. Like, even if he's like in the Gulf region, in the Middle East, wherever it is, now we have a designated person. Now he's just a dollar sign. We only pick up the phone to check up on him when we need the money. We only basically we only care about him when he's providing us with something. The moment he's no longer able to provide us with that financial security, all of a sudden they're ungrateful. They forgot where they came from. They are like arrogant, you know, like they don't see themselves as Sudanese anymore, you know, like they don't belong to us anymore. They're not Syrians anymore. And all of a sudden it's like, just because now the value of that person in the family is tied to how much they spend back home and how much they send back home. Like, I know a lot of people in my personal life, and then also like just friends, like people who are like not even from the same ethnicity as me, who would build houses for other people and they are living in this country renting. And I'm not talking like, oh, they're building their own house where they're gonna go back home and like that's where they're gonna retire. That's fine. You're choosing to build back home a house. You don't want to retire here. Of course, who's to say that you shouldn't? But it's the fact that like they would be sending their sisters, their brothers, their uncles. They would be sending their nephews to university, even though they would ask their kids here to take student loans, and for the rest of their life set their kids in a way to not failure but a disadvantage, because their kids are always going to have to be paying this off with interest on top of that. So it's just, she was talking about it and then she's like, oh, it's an uncomfortable discussion. It's 100% uncomfortable, because anyone who will be hearing this from us right now, they will judge us. They will be like, who do you think you are? How could you be saying this and everything like that? But the thing is, the reality of the situation is a lot of second-generation immigrants and even a lot of first-generation immigrants, they feel those shackles of the fact that their worth, their connection with home is with how much they send back home.
Yeah, no, of course. And I think that's why a lot of the kids of those parents and even spouses, like, they feel isolated from their partner or from their parent. And I think it's because it starts off small and then it just snowballs into a really massive big thing. So, you know, even if it's like, oh, I just need help with this medical treatment and it's a one-off payment that happens, all of a sudden, oh, my kid needs this, my, I don't know, dog needs this, my, I don't know, school needs this, and all of a sudden, like, you'd see that one single parent funding 3, 4, or 5 family members or families, period. And those family members, they have a full-time job. They have houses that they own, not renting. They own. Yeah. They have food, water, shelter. Did I say? Yes. And obviously the country itself might not be as, you know, progressive as that family member that's sending money. But it doesn't mean that their situation and their lifestyle is royalty, you know? And I think that's a vision or an idea that a lot of people who come from unwealthy backgrounds just assume that whoever is like outside their situation or in a different country, they're just living lavishly. And that's totally not true. And as a result, sometimes neglect does become an after effect. So your, spouse or your kids might feel neglected, and that's because you're not paying as much attention to them because you're very worried about what's happening back home. And when you actually do go back to visit home, you suddenly realize and see that actually the situation isn't as bad as how it was painted. And you kind of you have this I don't know, it's a weird sense of feeling because you feel scammed, but at the same time, it's all for goodwill. It's for your family. And I think that's why it's not talked about as much, because you can do that, but then you also can't complain. And you also can't say no at the same time. So if a family member goes I am struggling so much, Mace, I don't know how I'm going to see the next day. I need your help. 90% of the time, you're most likely to help, because that's how they trap you in a sense. But it's not to say that everyone is malicious, but there are some family members who are like that. And I resonate a lot with her story because I've experienced that myself, and I know a lot of people who were on the same boat as me who have experienced a similar situation, including yourself. So I think it's just one of those things that really need to be talked about, because it's okay, if I want to do something, I have every right to ask my parents for what I want. I'm their child, and I should feel entitled to go to them and be I really want this. But no, the way you're treated is people back home, they can't even do that. They can't do this. They can't do that. And you just want a book, a coloring book, and it's and you're a kid. You're 9, 10 years old. You don't know anything. And it's it just gets poured onto you, and that's very toxic. And I think that's really something to speak about.
The girl in the video, she basically was talking about an example of how she was saying that not specifically her, I'm not sure, but she was talking about an example of how sometimes what happens is not just coloring book, right? Sometimes even necessities. To the point, she was talking about an example of those parents would send the money back home, but then they don't even have a washing machine. They don't even have a dryer, right? And then it's to the point that I feel there is something to be said about how people back home perceive us living here. It's that they perceive that there's no sadness here, there's no depression, there's no hunger, there is no poverty, there's no homelessness, which I understand in the grand scheme of things. If we're comparing it to if we're comparing it to at least where me and Modda come from, where there was a war, there's war zone, I get the sentiment and I understand and I empathize, but at the same time, a lot of the time that's a tool that is used as well by a lot of people to devalue their own feelings or devalue other people's feelings. For example, Modda would come to me and be Mace, I've been feeling very low. I've been going through a lot of tough times. And the first thing I would respond and be oh, Modda, just be grateful. Other people in Sudan, you've seen what's been happening. Don't even have food to eat. And it's just it's 100% true, right? Yes, there are people back home who are struggling, and we pray every single day, and we hope to help them, and we want to donate, and we want to do our best to basically be able to provide, and hopefully in the future for us not to have that as a legacy for our countries, and not to have people from our own blood to be dying on the daily because they're hungry. But at the same time, that does not make sense for me as an argument, or for me to be saying this to someone who's coming to me and be I'm actually depressed, I'm actually on the last edge of myself, I'm gonna, how is that helping? And how is her being depressed knowing that people back home are hungry gonna make her less depressed? How is that helpful? How is that in any way beneficial to the people back home who are struggling, or to her? And it's always like that. It's mind-blowing how the first thing, myself, most of my friends, probably yourself, the first thing when we talk about the slightest discomfort, the slightest insecurity, the slightest worry that we have, we always have to think of, but we have it better than people back home.
Survivor's guilt. Survivor's guilt,
Exactly. And I'm how is that, it's not fair? And not just to us, but also is the fact that, people back home gain nothing from us putting ourselves down because they're struggling. In the end of the day, if we were not there was a quote, something along the lines of like, people who start doing volunteering, doing charity work, or like basically give back to the community and everything like that, those are people who are very strong mentally, because for you to take this step of like, I want to make a change, that means you've already went through how bad the situation is, and you've already grasped the meaning of what this ideology is, of like how difficult the situation is, and instead of crumbling down, you've decided, I'm going to take action. And that takes a lot of mental mental strength. So if we actually going to stop putting people down who live here, or like anywhere that is not war zone, that is not danger, that is not like as tough as it is back home right now, and we're gonna stop putting them down because they're not hungry, then they don't have bombs on top of their heads and everything like that, then we're actually gonna realize that our own people are not gonna stop having the capacity to even help us out, because they are so like engulfed in their own feelings. Because mental health is a real thing whereby like it eats you from the inside out in a way. Like it's like a black hole where it starts small, gets bigger, it's unaddressed, and then it feels like it absorbs you, right? So if it absorbs that person who's supposed to be in a better financial situation, in a better geographical situation, in a better whatever situation, now the survival gets is eating them from the inside out. Who do we have to help us? Who do we have to stand up for us, to echo our voices, to hopefully make a change? Who do we have? You know? So I feel like it's a lot of the time the survival guilt is so true, because people here are not allowed to feel. Me and Mawadda, we're not allowed to feel because we made it. And I'm like, yes, we made it, but this is not heaven. This is not heaven. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. But like, oh, but you're better than other people. And there's people who are much better than us. So there's always going to be people who are so much richer.
They themselves who are saying we are better than them, they are better than so many people. More. But yeah, of course, it's all about perspective. It's all about mindset. The whole point of you addressing mental health, like honestly, I love that you did. It's really hard. It's better said than done, because a lot of ethnic people, a lot of people who come from like, you know, minority backgrounds, they don't believe in mental health. And that's why it makes it 10 times as hard. But yeah, like honestly, I think it really sucks, because for example, I noticed growing up, I noticed this from such a young age, and I think that's why we both kind of grew up way fast than our, you know, fellow, you know,
people the same age
and I think the reason why is like for example, I noticed that there were some family members who would treat me a certain way and I was a kid, you know, they probably thought, she's just, it's not gonna stick, you know, she doesn't understand. They would treat me horribly. And then if my mom enters the room or my dad enters the room, all of a sudden I'm like treated as this, whoa, like this goddess, or like this, I don't know, angel. And, you know, like, you know, I'm getting kisses, I'm getting pampers, I'm getting, I don't know, my favorite food, I'm getting all of this. And it's like, you literally did not treat me like that in the other room. And I think that's one thing that kind of like, it was a perspective, and it opened up a lot in my brain. But it did get me thinking a lot about how people put up a front because they like to use other people. And it doesn't matter whether it's a family member or not, as long as they get what they want. And I've noticed that some of my family members are like that, unfortunately. So it's just that realization that just made me feel like, sometimes you can pick your own family. Your family does not have to be who you're associated with blood-wise. Like, your family can be anyone that you pick and anyone that you resonate with. And, for example, I see you as family. Whereas with some cousins or some aunties or uncles, they're like, even a stranger is more familiar to me than they are. Because of how manipulative they are. Some of them are very narcissistic, and oh my god, I've never discussed this before, so it's like very weird to like speak about this out loud, but these are things that I've noticed, and it's just like it goes unspoken, because obviously our parents are none the wiser, And it's just gonna do more harm than good if I was to go to my, I don't know, my mom or my dad, and I'm like, this person did this, how dare you do that? It's not gonna help anyone. It's not gonna help anyone. And those people have their mindset anyway. So it's just the fact that, like, you know, you speak with your parents and you tell them, I have boundaries with this person. That's it. As long as your parents can respect that, that's it. Because that's the only thing you can do. Because at the end of the day, they're family. And our parents are, obviously, like, they're educated and everything, but they're not us. And
not our generation. Education.
Exactly. And it's not like they can just cut people off. Like, you know, they're still, like, our generation is way different than theirs, and the way they perceive things. So like, even if it's someone that they don't like, I don't know why they just have this magic where they're able to tolerate those people. Whereas with me, I would just cut you off. Like, I don't tolerate that. And I don't care if you're a family member, if you're not, if you know, have bad intentions, you have malice, you've ruined me in some way, or you treated me badly, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna tolerate that. But you know, some people, they just tolerate it, and I don't think we have that in us.
I think we do have the privilege that our parents did not have, is at the fact that when it comes to family dynamics, we had distance. Geographical distance.
Exactly. That's one thing
so,
for sure.
Obviously, our parents are, yes, they, after they grew up, like when they were adults and they started their own families, that's when they left the country, and then they actually became a bit distant, you know. We have, like, even for myself, I myself, I have a lot of uncles, I have a lot of aunts. If I'm being completely honest, there's uncles and aunts that I haven't spoken to years.
There's some that I've never seen before as well.
Exactly. Exactly. Cousins, we have so many. I don't know most of my cousins' names. Not only that, because we come from certain cultures that people get married quite young, I have cousins who are grandparents.
Wow.
So, in what world would I have the connection to my family like that? I just couldn't. And we, as people who lived everywhere and mostly not our home countries, we actually have the disadvantage, if you want to say, or we were robbed from the weekend visits to grandparents' house, where that's where you get to know your cousins and everything like that. So that's why sometimes, like, when Mawadda was talking about the fact that, like, oh, they would treat me differently in front of my mom and stuff like that, is because even in our own families, we're othered. We're othered. Because whether it's because of our parents' education, because they made it, or whether it's because of our parents' positions, or because of the fact that our parents are financially comfortable, or it's because of the fact that we are outside, we left, we were educated and stuff like that. But even within our family, we're othered. Because there's certain standards that the family would not stand for. As two girls right now, right? I'm not wearing the hijab. I don't think that would run for most of my cousins. Dare I say all of them? You know? And the thing is,
it is tough for them as well. Let's be honest.
100%. I can never, I honestly don't know what I would do with myself if I was basically forced to do something that I don't want to do. But at the same time, it others you. It others you because in a way you're seen as privileged. So therefore, even with, like, when you go back home, right? Like, we're not there, like, we can go back home tomorrow, start living back home tomorrow. We will still be othered because we're different. Because we didn't grow up with their cultures. We didn't grow up under grandma's rules, the big uncle rules, the big auntie's rules. Our parents' rules were for us. Our parents they were educated enough to put boundaries when it comes to, like, raising us and how we carry ourselves. But let's be honest, if we were living back home, that would have not been the case. If we were born and raised there, we would have had to confine, because that's the only way we would have been able to survive.
Of course.
And the thing is, it's putting boundaries. It's a privilege that our generation is getting. Our parents did not have.
Yes.
It's a privilege that we have that our parents did not have. And because they, from a young age, had to live like that, I can't expect my parents, people in my parents' generation to be able to put the boundaries that we're putting. I have a boundary where I don't care if you're my uncle, I don't care if you're my aunt. You speak to me, I speak to you. You say happy Eid to me, I say happy Eid to you. There's certain aunts and uncles that would check up on me all the time and stuff like that. And some of them, I'm telling you, years since we left Syria, I haven't spoken to them. They never picked up the phone and called me. And
a phone goes both ways. And I'm not trying to, like, you know, step on my family or anything. I still love my family regardless. But it's those boundaries that you have to create to protect yourself and your immediate family as well. But yeah, these are things that, you know, maybe my parents won't understand because, you know, they might be like, oh, why haven't you spoken to this family member or that family member? But I think it's just like, you know, you also don't want to disrupt their mindset. So, you know, it's just like, sorry, I'm just going to speak to who I'm comfortable with.
Yeah, I think at this point when it comes to our parents, and maybe our parents also understand this when it comes to us as well, is we're different generations. We grew up in different circumstances. Yes, our parents left their home country eventually when they were grown adults. We left our home countries as children. And like Mawadda was not even born, like she was born there and she never lived in Sudan, right? Like we have the adaptability. We have the concept of, just like Mawadda said, chosen family. I honestly, like, a lot of people be like, oh no, but family is different. I don't see how it's different. I honestly don't. I don't see how, for me, like, a lot of people be like, oh, you know, but your family. I'm like, in what way? In what way any of my cousins would be closer to me than Mawadda is? Like, in
and you don't know them that well either. A lot of them
I know
you don't.
most of their names. Their first names.
Like, they know you. Like, for example, I know a lot of people that I've never met before or I'm not familiar with. Like, when I go back home to visit, every corner of the street that I cut, people know my name, and it's really scary. Like, I almost feel like a celebrity, and I feel like you feel the same as well.
I've never been yet since then, but
like,
yeah,
you know,
I get it. Yeah,
you get the idea, like, you know, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh my God, I miss you. Do you remember me?" And I'm like, "I've never seen you before.
I've held you when you were 1 year, one hour long."
And it's like they all know about you. They know what you're doing. They know. It's almost like you're living a celeb lifestyle. And then it's like you don't know these people. But you know, it's a very scary feeling. So I totally get it. Like, I 100% get it. Like, family or no family, like, the way you see them is the way you see them.
Yeah, and as I said, like, I never blame my parents for being as connected as, and granted, our parents are not even that connected to their families. As I said, because of geographical distance. If we live back home, that's an entire different conversation. But yes, of course, our parents are close to their family. They check up on them. They help them out whenever they can. And, you know, a lot of people, they always say, like, for example, I know my mom always says that, you know, the reason why Allah has given her or Allah has given us as a family is because we keep on giving back to the community. 100%. And I'll say again, as other, like, not unlike the girl in the video, we are privileged enough that our parents did not starve us to feed people back home. That's a reality. Exactly. Alhamdulillah, that's a reality that we did not have to go through, that we can relate on some aspects because of the emotion, but we did not have to go hungry, or we did not have washing machines because our parents were sending money. We were always comfortable enough that our parents were able to afford both. And honestly speaking, I think most of the time our parents, even if they were at some point, if times were getting tough, they always prioritize us.
Yeah, they obviously did, but I think with us, they prioritized us where it was like the minimum. Like, you know, we were okay. Like, we did get stuff that we want, but we didn't get everything that we wanted. Like, for example, our peers, like, you know, if they wanted like a designer bag or you know, this or that, they would get it. But they're not as like for example, we don't know their situation either. But you know, it's like the way our family is like run. It's like, a lot of those peers, they grew up in those areas. All they've known is that country, that region. Whereas us, we migrated to a different community. So that's what, exactly, we had to start from the ground up, which is why it kind of separated us like a bit. But you know, we had to learn being humble. We had to learn, you know, priorities as well. And, you know, it's not like we were starving, we were struggling. We weren't. But, you know, if I was like, I want this or I want that, I had to like think twice of it and have like a justification for why I needed it. And it's not to say that it was always a no, but most of the time it was like, please consider other aspects.
Yeah.
Which as a child, obviously you don't understand, but growing up you do now. But of course it wasn't to this person's level.
Yes, yes.
But there were a few stories that I've heard, like for example, in the UK, obviously you get student loans and everything, but a lot of students who get those loans, a lot of them aren't used for the students' like benefit. Like some people pay rent with it and they live in their own family homes, so their parents would ask for rent or they would ask for them to cover the bills. And it's like, I know if I was living with my family or my parents, they would never let me pay a cent in that house.
Yeah.
So it's very different levels. But that should never run. That should never be okay for you as a student, 18 years old, fresh out, you know, doing your freshman year, you get student loans, and all of a sudden all that money is going to your parents or your family home, and it's just like, it's horrible. And then now you're having to like find a job, and you know, it is a struggle for sure. But yeah, I think it's different from family to family, but in our family, like, dynamic specifically, that's how things were. And I think one thing I'm grateful for is that our families never forced us to do anything.
True.
Like they never went like, you have to speak to this person, or oh, you're neglecting this person or that person. They never forced us, and I think they kind of understand our generation.
Yeah, they never forced us. With that being said, the expectations were there.
Oh yeah.
Like, they never forced us, as in, I know, and I'm saying this because I know people who are like this. They never forced us, in like, they picked up the flip-flop and they had it in their hand while asking us to call our aunts.
Because some families are
because they do that, sometimes do that. They didn't force us in that way. But at the beginning, at least, it was expected. And honestly, for me, I'm a bit more social than, like, for example, let's say my siblings. So I don't mind. But I've realized I came to a point in my life where I'm like, oh, I don't mind, like, speaking to my aunts or my cousins, the one who cares, the one who are not talking smack about me behind my back.
Okay, yeah.
And just so you know, I don't care whoever you are, when it comes to family, if you talk badly about one family member, it will reach them. I don't care when.
Of course.
I don't care by who. Even if it's by carrier pigeon, the word would reach. I don't know why you think in a family, like if Mawadda was my sister and I told her something about another cousin, the cousin will hear of it. I don't know how, I don't know where, I don't know if the phones are tapped. You never speak about your family to another family member and not expect them to hear it. I'm all the way in another continent and I still hear about all the gossip, whether it's about me or not, whether I'm involved in it or not. I even hear like the small comments that are said about me. I haven't stepped a foot in my country for the past 13 years.
Wow.
And it would forever reach. So I don't know, a lot of people get comfortable. Oh my God, I'm going to talk about
It's envy, you know? It's envy, it's jealousy.
Can we
it's
be smart about it,
like,
though? I don't want to be hearing about it.
Yeah, you left and you were a minor. Yeah. You're a full-grown adult now, and people are still talking.
You knew me when I was 11.
That's
and
so
you know,
weird.
I'm assuming also, like, you know what my mom sends them, pictures, or my dad, or whatever I put on social media, because that's on the internet, so they can have access to it. But you know that much, and you have that much hatred towards us, just because we made it. And that's, we made it in quotation marks, because where can you ever make it?
We didn't make it yet, guys.
This is not heaven. This is not heaven. Like, there's a lot of things to be, and not to say anything, like, even tomorrow, if they come to this country, they're also going to struggle and they're going to realize this. But I think we have, hindsight is 2020. We have the perspective of both sides. They only have one.
Yes, that's very deep. That's a quote right there, because I think they don't know what it's like being here. That's why they feel like they can ask for a lot. They feel like they can fake a stunt. They can put up a front, try and act a different way, manipulate us. They feel they can do that. And I think going back to how you said your mom, you know, it's like, you know, God, Allah has given us this, so we're giving back to the people. I think that's a similar perspective that my parents have. And also another perspective I'm sure that both our parents have as well is that, you know, God is kind of like testing them by giving them this wealth this,
See what they're gonna do with
and then it's for a reason, for a purpose, and the way they envision is that to give those who are less than, and so on and so forth. But for sure, the families, some of them, they do take advantage of it, and these are things that have been overrun for years, maybe decades, so it's a very deep-rooted issue, and I think there's also a hierarchy to things. So for example, like, I'm sure you have a lot of family members who work outside of Syria. I have the same as well. They work outside Sudan. But it's almost as if, like, there's a hierarchy where our parents are the ones who are losing the most. Not, I wouldn't say losing, maybe like they're
expected to give the most.
Yeah, it's almost like they're at wit's end because they also have their own struggles, but no one's looking at the other family members who are outside the country. They're only looking at our family members, and it's like, why is that? And it's like, okay, if this is to help, I don't know, let's say like it's I don't know, like a great aunt or a grandfather or a grandmother, or why is it that only one person out of the entire family of 400 people is expected to cover the cost?
Underestimate.
Guys, our families are huge. Like, why is it that only one person is expected to cover the cost of anything, any mishaps, any like issues that happen in the family? If, like, I don't know, someone's house broke down, this one family members need to cover the cost of everything. If, I don't know, one person wants to go to uni, that same family member needs to cover that cost. If someone's in hospital, why is it that is the standard? I think that's where the issue lies. Because if you are able to, as a person, give 2 cents here, another person gives 2 cents here, that family of 5,000 people, I guarantee you,
it's a community.
Will be able. It takes a village, right? It does. So if you are truly a family person, then you would love to, you would want to contribute. But no one's batting an eye. Everyone's seeing what's happening, and they're still milking it. They're still, like, taking advantage of that one individual, and it's very toxic. And obviously that individual, they can't be like, oh, I'm not gonna do that, because there's gonna be talks. How dare you turn your back on family? How dare they say stuff like that? And it's a never-ending cycle. So in a sense, I understand, like, why our parents are doing this, but at the same time, I think they also understand why we're kind of keeping a distance from things, because they don't know what we know, and they also understand how hectic this whole situation is, and I think they low-key don't want us to be in the same predicament.
No, 100%. I think also, like, just on the point that you've said, like, when it comes to that one person, I think, culturally speaking, most of the time, the more you give, the more you're expected to give. Because we have this perceived notion of, if you're giving a lot, that means you have a lot. Which is not always true.
That's crazy.
Which is not always true. Which is like, I understand that there's, like, for example, for me, like right now, me as an individual, there is certain people that will feel more comfortable asking, let's say if I need emergency money, or I need emergency help, or I need whatever it is. There's certain people that will feel more comfortable than other people, even if they're on the same level, to ask them for money, let's say, for example. But the thing is, it becomes a pattern, because once you say yes once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, then it becomes almost expected, to the point that they're no longer asking, they're demanding. They're no longer asking, they're informing you so you can get this done and over with. And a lot of the time, a lot of parents, a lot of those people who are like sending money back home, it's the shackles for them. They can't put boundaries up. For example, you've been sending money over for 10 years. How are you going to stop now? With what excuse?
Of course,
Now you have to come up with an excuse on why you cannot send money back home. You actually have to come up with a genuine excuse of like, oh, I've been laid off. Oh, I actually, like, there's an unexpected medical emergency.
But with that timeline, it becomes easier to lie as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so even if nothing, like, let's say you got laid off.
But do you think our parents would ever lie? They wouldn't.
No, I meant the other person. Sorry, I
Yeah.
misunderstood.
Yeah, no, but it's true.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, if that other person, like, yeah, they can lie and everything like that. But
Yeah.
our parents, obviously being very devout Muslims as
Oh,
well.
no, of course.
And,
It's
and
very
also
hard.
being
It's very hard.
elderly people and stuff like that.
I think I understood what you meant.
You know
now.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, they would
yeah.
never lie and be like, oh, you know, I can't send money anymore because I was laid off.
Of course. Yeah.
Especially if they weren't laid off. Like, if they were laid off, okay, that's
Even I
that's not a
myself would
problem.
feel uncomfortable
Yeah.
if I was doing that. Yeah.
Exactly. It's because in the, like, in a way, we are born and raised on consequences of our action as Muslims. So if we lie, sure, you might not have to send money back home, but what does that mean? Because you just lied, right? So yeah.
And also some families. Sorry to cut you off.
No.
Yeah.
Continue.
I was just gonna say, like, some families also who are, you know, giving to you know, families back home, they also see this as like a mission. Like, they're like, this is my duty, I need to fulfill that. And I think it kind of gives them that motivation or that purpose or that sense of, you know, feeling like they're needed, and I think it kind of gives them that drive to wake up every morning, do that 9 to 5 or whatever job they're doing, and actually give back, even though they're low-key neglecting their own immediate family. But I think some family members do see it like that, like, oh, this is why I'm not this is why I'm not back home, you know, and it's like, I have to keep doing that so that I can help the family, you know, so they kind of see it as like a drive for purpose or something like that. So it is a mindset thing as well.
Yeah. I think we say all that to say, don't send your family money.
Of course not. No.
Don't clip this and send it on the family group chat and be like, oh, you know, I've heard 2 girls, one of them with a mic and one of them with a spoon, saying don't send money back home.
Our families cannot see this episode.
I'm only confident at the fact that we're speaking in English. If there was an Arabic episode, you would know, be like, oh, بحب my family, بحب. But like, we're not saying don't send money.
Yeah.
I also, like, just like
I
my
sent
mom.
money. I sent money back home.
I actually believe that the more you give, the more you get. I genuinely, I see it from my mom's perspective as well. The more you give, Allah would give you more and more and more and more and more.
Yeah.
And I see that and I believe that, but there's the attitude towards it, right? And first of all, there's an Arabic saying that says "Habibak asa la talhasu kullu," which means if your beloved is honey, don't lick it all at once. Like, if I'm for example down the line, if for whatever reason I'm taking money from my sister or I'm taking money from whoever it is or any family member, and like I'm living back home taking money, how about you check up on that family member once in a while, not asking for money? How about
this?
Exactly. How about you, for example, you check up on their kids, and you genuinely show genuine interest in them, just like your other nieces and nephews, not because of money. How about you pick up the phone once in a while and call your nieces and nephew, not asking about their mom because you want to ask for money from their mom or their dad? How about, like, be grateful and not expect it?
Yeah, how about if they visit the country that you're working in, you don't close your doors and you actually do welcome them like the family, like your own family, because they are. When, you know, you went to their country, by the way, this is outside the homeland, you went to their country, they welcomed you with open arms. How about you try and, you know, reciprocate and be accommodating with whatever you have, even if you don't have anything, you can still be accommodating.
Yeah. Like, honestly, money is not the money. You don't have to give back by giving money. Yes, a lot of people are financially stable enough, they're giving by giving money. The person who's receiving that money is not alone, right? It's not anything. But show it in other ways as well. Like, don't expect it, be grateful, and maybe try, like, work hard and everything like that. And with that being said, honestly, like, just like Mawadda already said, my dream is to be able to, down the line, be able to provide for my parents. Like,
oh yes,
100%. Like,
and like, even then, I don't think it would ever equate to what they've given us.
100%. My dream is to give back to them. With that being said, if tomorrow I decide to bring a child to this world, and I am unable to fulfill both commitments, I'm not bringing a child to this world.
Of course. And if, let's say, you do end up having a child, I'm sorry, you're prioritizing that child. You're prioritizing that. You have to.
is.
Even though your dream was to provide for your parents and like give back to them in whatever you can, if you're not able to fulfill that, you have to prioritize your kid.
My kid come first. But if my parents need me and I am providing for my parents, which as I said, like it's our dream to do so. But the thing is if down the line I choose to, for example, like, oh, I have at the moment, I can sustain both. But then my kid gets sick and now I need so much more money. My kid comes first.
You're prioritizing that kid. Yeah.
And yes, I will go above and beyond to make sure that my parents are taken care of. And hopefully down the line, like,
and you have other siblings as well.
Exactly. It's going to be my siblings as well.
You have other siblings as well.
Exactly. So hopefully it's not going to be just me, that maybe my siblings can take a bit of like the burden from me, like at that moment, because I'm struggling. But I'm just saying that as an example of like, if family is that important and us sending money to back home is that important, and it should be, and we should all be working extra hard so we can make enough so we can sustain all. If that's the case, just like you have to be able to earn enough, you have to be working hard enough, you have to be progressing, but we cannot basically take away from our own kids. We don't have a washing machine. We don't.
That's crazy.
We don't have the basic things. Like we live in council houses here, but my sister has a villa back home. That doesn't make sense.
Like in the same scenario, if instead of it being you, it's our parents.
Yeah.
You're like, let's say the other siblings who are meant to like help that, you know, their parents or whatever, they're not gonna be looking at each other to help you out.
Yeah.
They're going to be looking at you because you were the sole provider for this entire big family name for the past, I don't even know how many years. They're going to be looking at you. The only reason why I think our family is okay is because they are, alhamdulillah, like privileged enough to be able to sustain our wants and their family ones. But if it was any other family where they can only accommodate one
that happens a lot,
and it happens so many times, it's very sad to see that oftentimes the immediate child gets neglected or the spouse gets neglected because they look at the extended family. But that's essentially where that's where the toxicity is in a sense.
Because we are conditioned to believe that people back home are forever and always struggling more than we are.
Yes. Kids don't care. They don't matter.
No, exactly. And it doesn't matter. Like, it genuinely, people see it from the point of view that you guys are not hungry. You know?
Yeah, true.
And I see it as well. Like, honestly, sometimes I even gaslight myself. Like, my own self. Like, sometimes I'd be like, as depressed as it gets, and that's how deep the brainwashing is. I speak to myself, like, as much as I've been talking for the past hour about how much we should not be doing this, I internally gaslight myself and being like, you have a roof on top of your head,
guys. It's so
grateful.
Yeah, it's so toxic sometimes.
And
because
sometimes you just have to feel your feelings. It's as simple as that. Like, stop comparing yourself to people above or below you. Like, sometimes we just have to be content with what we have. You can strive for more, be grateful with what you have because other people don't have it. But why does it have to always be extreme? Why does it always have to be either we're never grateful because we're always looking for people above us, or we're so not grateful, we almost like we have to gaslight ourselves, we have to be so humble because there's people who are worse than us, going through so much worse things than us. And I'm like, how about no? Either way,
you know,
why
even
is it extreme?
You know how I know, like they're just using us. Like, for example, I'm sure your mom and your dad also have the same experience. Like, my parents, they try to help, obviously, family members and everything. But, you know, when someone speaks to you about a situation, you also try to help mitigate the scenario or the situation, or try to, like, you know, provide them advice so that they can, you know, improve their lifestyle in a sustainable way. So my parents have advised, they have given a lot of resources, a lot of help. They've invested a lot in, like, you know, businesses and a lot of, like, different things here and there so that they can help family members. But those people, they don't want to do that. They don't want to be helped, in a sense where they don't want to hustle They don't want to work hard. They don't want to strive to try and better their lives.
Yeah.
They're happy with just receiving money.
That's
And I
easier.
think that's exactly.
It is easy for them.
It is easier, but also our parents started the same boat as them. They started in the same boat as them.
Oh, please,
They
you can
just
never have
hustled.
this conversation with them. How are you going to
Of
stop
course.
explaining to them that, let's be honest, like, okay, I never compare to myself to my uncles or my aunts, right? That's not a fair comparison. That's never a fair comparison. I had privileges that they never dreamt of. Simple. My mom, my dad, your mom, your dad. Why? They all came from the same family.
They grew up all together.
All together.
And it's not to say that, like, oh, one got, like, obviously luck does play a role as well.
Of course.
But it's also the fact that, like, they did not get lucky. My parents actually worked their butts off. Your parents did as well. Like, they were hustlers.
Our parents put their health on the
Yeah.
line,
Yes.
in
Yeah.
order to provide for us and family back home.
So
Our
it's-
parents literally paid, quite literally, years of their life working hard, traveling, literally like staying
Losing
up at night,
sleep.
sleeping in airports every single
On the
day.
floor sometimes,
Exactly,
yeah.
every single day, their head would hit a different pillow. Like we were kids of like we're international kids. We were born in different countries and stuff like that. Our parents would literally be like across the world trying to provide for us. Our parents had to give up a nuclear
They didn't ask
family,
for this.
a nuclear family. Like they didn't see us grow up every single day because they had to basically hustle so much to the point that they had to give up the idea of a nuclear family, us having breakfast every single day together, having dinner every
sacrifice.
single day together. I can count on one hand the amount of times that probably me and Mawadda had family together breakfast or like
I
a
feel,
dinner.
yeah, like, I feel closer to you, Mace, than I do my parents.
Yeah, me too.
Like, that's how crazy it is, because we don't see our families. Like,
Yeah.
we hardly do, and we can't blame anyone for that,
Yeah.
because they're doing it for the benefit of the family, and you know, it's just something that we had to accept as young kids.
Yeah.
And you know, both of us struggled in those avenues, whereas our family members, the extended family, they didn't struggle with that. What they did struggle with is maybe the economy. They struggled with finances. Sure, we did not struggle with that. So it's like a win-win, lose-lose situation for both parties. But it gets very toxic when you have this mentality that oh, these people are living way better than I am, and you start like, comparison is the thief of joy. It's
Exactly.
honestly like that I think that's the one quote that we're gonna take from today's episode,
100%.
because it's insane. Like, it's tragic for you to have such a mindset, and at the end of the day, it's not a stranger, it's not a friend, it's family. And that's why I think a lot of like ethnic families are broken because of that. Because it's getting very toxic. Like, even I heard some stories where people are now asking for, like, I don't know, jewelry and gold and, like, you know, and it's like, these are things that you don't even need anymore, and you're that comfortable now to ask for them. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah,
It's
they don't
insane.
need it, they want
And
it.
they work full-time jobs, they're fine, but, like, you know, if our parents are helping people financially, but they're also giving them resources, utilities, they're giving them, you know, ways they can try and better their lives, and they're not taking that, who's to blame?
Yeah.
Who's to blame?
No, 100%. And like, as I said, this is not to say don't give back.
Of course.
Give back always, and give back, you get even more. Like, I'm a firm believer in that, but I think you should give it to people who you genuinely believe in their struggle, and not to say that there's a struggle that is real and a struggle that is fake, but people you genuinely think they struggle. Because let's be honest, our families there's always people who are going to be worse than our families, right? Like, even our extended families, there are people who are always going to be less fortunate than our family members that our parents are working so hard to send them money. There's always going to be people who are worse. There's always going to be people who are worse. So it's people who you believe in their struggle, you believe in their potential, you believe in their rights of, like, living. And I'm not talking about, like, living lavishly. Like, obviously that's a luxury. it would be nice if everyone can live lavishly everywhere in the world.
Course.
Ideally
I want
speaking,
that.
all of us want that. Who doesn't want that? Ending world hunger, ending like the struggle and stuff like that. Everyone wants that, and we should, all of us, be working towards that. But I think our money should go in places where it's a bit more, like, you know how a lot of people be like, oh, you know, I donate like to GoFundMe's who are like not a GoFund, like, that's a bad example, but for example, people who be like, oh, I don't want to donate to charities because I don't know where the money is going. But sometimes charities, it's good to donate to charities. Why? Because charities, they come up with a sustainability plan. So if it comes to like, educating girls in certain countries where they're not educated, or like they're not supposed to be educated, or like it's frowned upon for them to be educated, the charity has a stream of network and also of staff that they're gonna come up with a program, a sustainable program that's gonna be an all-encompassing thing of how we can teach those girls, maybe build a school, maybe build the curriculum. But when you give it to an individual, that's at their own discretion. Not to say that they're not going to use it for good, but they're not going to have the same impact that if you give it to like a well-known, checked charity that actually does work on the grounds. And I, personally speaking, I think like that's so much more beneficial. If we want to give back, it's not just family they can give back to. There's always people who are less fortunate they can give back to. And I just feel like you can definitely give back to family, but not at the expense of your own health, and children, and sanity. Because sometimes it takes away from your sanity, because now it's a mental burden in your head, to the point that like I know so many people who are like, oh, you know, I used to work this many jobs because I need to provide for myself and like for my family back home. Now, technically speaking, I don't need that much money anymore. Like I've already, for example, let's say I paid off my mortgage. I wanted to buy a car, so I picked up an extra gig. I already paid off the car and whatever. And now they're working this extra job, even though they don't, is because now it's expected from them to be sending that much money back home. Because, you know, like, and then they're losing sleep. They're losing mental health, like, you know, like they're losing their sanity.
They're not living.
Like that.
They're not living. They're living to work. They're not working to live.
That's what's expected from people who come to the Western world, people who leave their countries. Not just the Western world, like even, for example, Sudanese people who go to the Gulf, or like even Syrian people who go to the Gulf. It's expected from them to be slaves, working day and night, so they can send money back home. And I wish I was talking about like, oh, well, you know, his wife and his kids are back home, and therefore, like, obviously.
If someone is dying, that's different.
Yeah.
But if it's like, oh, every month I expect you to pay me, like, basically we're giving salaries back home, basically.
You are giving salaries, you're opening businesses, you're sending people to university. Are these needs? Opening businesses? Going to uni? Debatable. Is that a need? But in the end of the day, honestly, even like I say this all to say, if I had the money, I'll probably give back too.
Of course.
Is it in the same way? Definitely not.
Yeah, of course. I wouldn't, I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't work 2 jobs to pay back my extended family. However,
my parents and my siblings,
if my parents and my siblings are struggling in something, I don't know, let's say something's flipped to 180, I would work 500 jobs.
I would lose sleep for my parents.
And I think that's the same mindset that our parents have with the extended family.
And that's where we have the issue here.
Yeah.
But our boundaries are, my family, I would like literally slave away. I would lose sleep. I would do everything towards them.
Yeah.
But again, if you say that being said, technically our grandparents are our parents. And then our aunts are our parents'
I would do
sisters.
everything for my grandparents.
Yeah, like, I think it's
the uncles, aunties, cousins.
But with that being said,
second cousins, it does depend. It depends on who was there for you. It depends on who you're close to. It's all subjective, honestly. I think.
But that means we're in the shackles then, you know? I was just thinking about it. That means me and you are still in the shackles because
we are.
Because we're conditioned. Because imagine, like, our parents are looking at our aunts and uncles. Those are their siblings and sisters, right? So they do no wrong. I'm saying. That we are still in the shackles.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe hopefully our kids.
Maybe.
will leave the shackles.
Yeah, that's what I mean about perspective. Like it's very different, like the way our family, like our parents see things compared to us. So it's very different. But the thing is, like, we understand where they stand, and I think they get where we stand. So
I hope.
Yeah, and I think
I don't know about after this episode though.
Oh yeah, they're probably very, I've never discussed this with them, so they're probably very shocked. But yeah, like I think it's just, but we're the exception again. Like there's so many families who do things
Genuinely
for the wrong
starving,
reason.
by the way.
Yeah, like they do things for the wrong reason, and they don't prioritize the correct thing, in a sense where, like, you know, health comes first, and then this and that and that, and it's just like, it's something that needs to be spoken about a lot. But yeah, just to like end this session, I do want to circle back to like the whole charity topic. Like charity, honestly, I mean, for me personally, I pick and choose what charity to donate to and everything. You have to do your research, guys. Even if it's an individual party that you're trying to donate to, just make sure that you're doing your research and you know for sure that it's going to go to what you want it to go to. Just make sure that you do your research. As long as you do, you can donate to whoever you want.
Because as sad as it is, there's a lot of actual charities that they were like known for, like, for example, like the tagline, and only just because it came in my mind right now, like, oh, we want to build what is it, the water thing, wells in like, for example,
there's
Africa.
Wells, there's trees, and then people do a lot of
like for example the wells, and I know that most recently there's like the trees in Palestine, and then also there's the wells like in Africa. First of all, like when I heard the wells one, I was like, in Africa, like the entire continent, like why we, like, you have to do your research, see where it's going, see that it's like actually a country in need, and not like, because a lot of the times as well, unfortunately, countries like that who have been through war, they're corrupt, which means that they actually might like, it might be not the charity's fault, but it might be the country's corruption's fault, because yes, the charity, yes, it sends the money, but then it sends it to the wrong people back, like in that country. For example, it gives it to the government. We all know if it reaches the government's hands,
it's gone.
It's not reaching the people. So yeah, definitely, like, make sure that it's not you checking only the charity, but who the charity is affiliated with in that country that they're doing the supposed charity work in. You have to make sure that it's coming to the people. Like maybe it's another grassroots organization in that country, another small charity, another charity, maybe a big charity in that country. But if it's gonna go to like, oh, you know, we want to build a school, and then the charity collects the money, and they actually genuinely gives it to a company in, like, let's say Uganda, right? And then they give it to that company, but there's a construction company, it's a LTD, and you know, they start, like, you know, messing with the numbers a little bit, you know, and all of a sudden a school that should have costed, like, I don't know, based on the living expenses of that country, X amount of money, it's costing 3 times that amount, because all of a sudden the construction company wants to use the most premium of premiums, filtered water to do the thingy. You know what I mean? So you have to be careful. You have to, like, not only look into the charity, because the charity could be the best place ever, but when if the charity collects all of that money, they get nothing from it. It's 100% donations, and it goes to, like, this hypothetical company. Your money did not build no school.
And don't fully rely on reviews either, by the way. Like sometimes reviews used to help a lot, and they still do, but don't make that your only research source. Like, actually look into the proper charity or the organization that you want to donate to. And that's for anything, even movies, even, I don't know, events, whatever it is. Like, just make sure you do your research.
Like just like at the beginning of this episode, you should not be discouraged from watching the K-pop demon hunting because of what I said, right? Do your research. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people got the message. I'm just a hater out there, you know what I mean? So do not take advice from someone who has their mic on a spoon, you know?
No, this is elite. I just
honestly,
love
I like
this
it too
concept.
much. Don't mind me. I like this.
I low-key wanted to switch with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be, what is it called, on the train when, like, if we're moving our equipment, just randomly holding a spoon. People are gonna be so concerned. But,
oh god.
Yeah. You know, this might sound foreign, but this is very, very,
very familiar.
Very familiar, very sturdy. But yeah, I think today's episode took an unexpected turn.
Yes. Yeah. We had a lot in store, but we're just gonna push it back to our next episode. So stay tuned. And we may or may not be filming it today or the next day, but
we'll see. But I feel like that's the good thing. As I said, this is our opinions. This is our lived experience. This is our lived experience, our opinions. And again, I repeat and I say, we were privileged enough that we did not have to suffer through the extreme situations whereby I'm sleeping hungry because my dad decided to send money back home.
Of course.
We did not live through that. We just lived through something so much more minor, but it did affect us in some way. Some people can look at us and be like, this is vain. You guys are
arrogant.
But you're entitled to your opinion. We saw it. Yeah. You're entitled to your opinion. We grew up from a young age knowing that when it comes to sending money back home, that's not negotiable. You know, and we understand. We're still entitled to our feelings. And this is a democracy. And in a democracy, I can have my opinion. You can have yours. You know, as long as your opinion does not suppress mine, you can definitely, basically, as I said, this is our own opinion. You can disagree with us. You can see us the way that you want. We will be deleting hate comments, or at least be responding to them.
I'm not doing that. You can hate all you want. Yeah, please, whatever you think, whatever you feel, you're entitled to your own opinion. But yeah, I'm not gonna go around fishing for hate comments. I could care less. You know, positive comments, however,
we're always like those.
We'll hang them up here.
Yeah. Oh my god, imagine that'd be so cool.
Yeah. Honestly, like May said, we are very privileged. We understand our privileges. I'm really grateful that our parents did, raise us in a sense for us to be thankful for whatever we have.
Yeah.
Even if we're struggling one day, you always have to be grateful and thankful regardless. And I think it's really easy for us to say that because we live two worlds. We saw what it was like back home. We saw what it's like right now. So whatever the case happens, we're always grateful and we always see the positive light. But that's not to say that, we also did feel some type of way. We had some reservations here and there. But yeah, it's just this whole communication. So don't take it too much. But yeah, I think it's another reason why it's not that big of an issue compared to that person on TikTok is because our parents were capable to provide for both us and the extended families, and they still are, alhamdulillah. So it's not that big of an issue really for us, but it is an issue
for other people,
for so many people out there. And it's not spoken about much. So I really do commend this person for speaking up.
And this podcast is genuinely about the fact that we want to talk about certain topics that are uncomfortable, taboos. We have the freedom but the education to realize that there's certain things that have to be spoken about, even if culturally speaking it's a bit uncomfortable. Be uncomfortable. I don't know what to tell you. You're gonna have to be uncomfortable. Talking about money, probably the most uncomfortable topic ever. Talking about how much
we're talking about money and my bank is at zero.
Exactly. We're talking about money and I don't know how I'm gonna make it to the end of this month. But yeah, that's the thing. Money's uncomfortable. There's gonna be, for example, certain things that we're gonna have to talk about. For example, gender inequality in our cultures. Uncomfortable, but it happens. What are we supposed to do? We've suffered through this. We lived through this. This is our lived experience. It does not make your lived experience any less or more. This is our situation. What we went through. This is yours, and I feel like yours is valid. Ours is valid. There's no right answer. This is an opinion based on lived experience. Maybe the people who have suffered, basically they slept hungry because their parents are sending money back home. Maybe they have so many more harsh opinions towards sending money back home, and maybe they actually hate their families back home. And honestly, who are we to say that this is allowed and this is not allowed? The way that they feel is valid because they had the reasons and the experience to feel that way, and we cannot sit here and be like, but you have to be considerate of people back home. And I'm like, and who are we to say that, right? That's their lived experience. That's their emotions. And granted, there are certain things that but when it comes to feelings, everyone is allowed to feel the way that they want. But at the same time, it's like, we have to be mindful. Oh, this is how you felt. I can go through something and it could basically make me feel nothing. Mauda can go through the same exact thing and make her feel so many more emotions, vice versa. Does that make her invalid or makes me invalid for not feeling it or feeling it? No. people
very individualistic.
very individualistic, and so people who I know a lot of people who are so much more harsh when it comes to speaking about this topic. And again, I said it, like we said again, it's because we had the privilege of not suffering as a consequence in a certain way. But other people, they did, and genuinely they had to sleep hungry because of it.
Yeah, and this is not just like a dialogue. This is just like a conversation with you guys as well. Like, honestly, like if you
want to hear your opinions,
honestly, I would want nothing more than watchers and listeners to contribute to the conversations that we're having in this podcast, because that's the whole entire reason why we built this, is so that, you know, we can have relatable content, we can have material and, you know, spaces where people are comfortable to talk about, you know, their opinions, you know, their experiences, their thoughts, their, you know, and it's nothing hateful or nothing like there shouldn't be any judgment. I'm not saying that there will be, because obviously I can't control the internet, but you know, it's not to like, it's a judgment-free zone in a sense, where it's just a conversation. We're just talking about our experiences, and whoever can relate or whoever has any input is more than happy, or, you know, more like free to input and put whatever there is. So that's entirely like the message that we want to put forward, and the conversation and the thought behind ATB in general. So essentially that's what we want to do. But it did turn into like a very deep, dark
an hour and a half of ranting. But I think those thoughts, as I said, they're very taboos, and most people are just, they keep it inside their heads. And let's be honest, if it wasn't me and Moda had these conversations before between me and her and everything like that, but I would have never have said this to other people, because as I said in the beginning of this episode, you gotta listen to us and be like, those arrogant, ungrateful
trust us, we've never
with
spoken
2 mics and stuff like that, and you're gonna feel that way, and you're that's your feelings. What can we do? But the thing is, we also are entitled to the fact that, as dark as this might seem to some people, like, oh my god, like how can you be thinking that way? It's just a valid feeling. Feelings are valid, and that's how we felt. We grew up like this. Since we were children, that was our reality, and that's how we felt. People who are sleeping hungry because of that probably feel so much more strongly, or it might be an opposite effect, where like actually they're very content because, you know, they feel like they're also contributing into doing good and greatness in their community. More power to them. We want to make this episode, or just episode in general, we want to make it an open dialogue to your deepest, darkest thoughts you can voice them, you know?
Yeah, the like, things don't be ashamed, don't be afraid.
100%.
There's not enough representation of us, so, and there's so many of us, like, you know, and it's like, where are you people, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just, our goal is really to just make this space so that a lot of people can just unite and communicate with each other and
not feel alone.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, I went years thinking like, oh, this is just my family, dysfunctional family, no one's like me, everyone I'm looking around, every corner I'm turning, people are so lovey-dovey with their family, whatever they want they get, da-da-da-da-da-da. And then, you know, I turn around, I speak with this person, I speak with this friend, I speak with Mace, and I've come to realize, like, actually there's so many cracks in a lot of people's life.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just, you can't see them. So the fact that, you know, we're having this conversation, it really helps.
Yeah. And on that note,
adios, amigos.
No,
is it amigos or amigas?
Maybe you should.
Adios is goodbye, right? Oh my god, I'm so used to saying hola, ¿cómo estás? But
no goodbyes.
I don't say goodbyes because I don't believe. No,
I don't believe.
That's so corny.
No, what was the song?
It is
I'm so
adios.
bad in
I know
goodbyes,
that.
something like that.
Oh yeah, I'm way too good at goodbyes. It's adios. I just know it, but I'll double check because I don't want to upset the Hispanic community, or the Spanish-speaking community. Yes, adios.
Adios.
And then amigos. Amigo is like my friend, or
okay,
amiga is friend for a female.
So adios, amiga.
We'll just say adios.
Yeah, let's keep it simple.
All right, and with that note, on that note,
adios.
Oh.
What the hell? Again.
Let's do it again.
Okay.
And
on that note,
yeah.
Gather your thoughts. Gather.
And on that note,
adios.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.